Hello YouTube, thanks for joining me today. Welcome, and thank you for all the comments and subscriptions over the recent videos I've done, or just old ones. I've seen the comments recently and different things you guys have been commenting on and liking, so thank you. I want to get straight down to the point. Today's video is going to be a really nostalgic trip down memory lane. So if you like nostalgia and you like vintage model railways, then stick around because you're going to love this one. And I hope you get as much pleasure watching this video after I've put it up as I have actually making it. Couple of things before I begin the video today is, number one, I'm filming in the bedroom. Don't worry, nothing weird going on, but it's more brighter in here and I've got a larger lighting area, and obviously I need the space to show you what I'm going to actually put before the camera. And secondly, I'm just getting over a viral infection, so my whole voice is just a little bit blur at the moment, so please do put up with that, but hopefully you can understand the commentary. Anyway, let's get on to the subject. So everybody remembers their first car, remembers their first job, remembers their first date, you name it, but we certainly remember, those of us in the hobby, our very first train set. Now it might be a Hornby, it might be a Hornby Triang, it might even be a Triang or a Hornby Double O, it might even be a TT Triang. Everyone remembers at some stage in their life owning a train set. No matter what country you're from, whether you're from the States or Canada or the UK or Germany, France, you name it, anywhere in the world, someone gave you a train set for a birthday or Christmas, and that was when you got into the hobby. So for me, we're going to skip back through the mist of time now to 1979. So here is the Hornby 1979 29th edition, sorry, correction, 25th edition, my apologies, Hornby Railways catalogue. And this was the copy that you got in the shops or with the train set. So Christmas 1980, I received this with a certain train set. And Christmas morning, when I came out of my bedroom, I opened my eyes, and amidst the glow of the Christmas tree lights, there on a piece of 6x5 dark green painted chipboard was this: the mighty Duchess of Sutherland London Midland Scottish R91 Express passenger set. What an absolute cracker. And my dear old grandfather at the time had gone and purchased a bit of board, cut it to size, painted it, and then when he came home from work every night, he assembled the track bit by bit, hid it under the bed so I couldn't see it at his house, and then on Christmas Eve night he carried it all the way from his house to our house, and then when I woke up Christmas morning, there it was, ready to go. And it was the most magical Christmas ever in my life. I mean, I've got kids. I'm 45 this year, and I've had some good Christmases so far, but nothing compares to that first Christmas with the first train set ever. It was the best. Even James May couldn't top it. So this was the train set I got. It was the R791, and maybe some of you out there actually own one of these or remember having something similar like this. Anyway, my point was, this was my pride and joy, guys. And I remember about a year or so after having the set, I could never ever sleep with it being in the box. I had to have it out on display so I could look at it. And when I wasn't running my train, I used to lean the piece of baseboard up against my bedroom wall, and then next to my bed there was a bedside unit, and I used to set my Duchess and my rolling stock out on there on display so I could lay in bed of a night and look at it. And I remember we had a kid on our landing. He was quite enthusiastic, a couple of years younger than me at the time, and I had some toys on my unit, and he came into my bedroom and wanted to play one of the toys, and he reached up and grabbed it, and my complete Duchess set just went crash into the floor and got completely destroyed. And it was never the same after that. Even when my granddad tried to glue it and fix it, it was never the same. and I was really in total dismay. And obviously as time went on, I grew up and I got less interested in the hobby, unlike today, and it eventually fell into disrepair. I couldn't bother to get it fixed or repaired, unlike today's world where you can get things repaired and fix things yourself and get enjoyment out of doing those things. I was a simple youth. I found other things of interest, so it went in the bin. Shock and horror, you may say. So anyway, years later, this set just haunted me, like the ghost of Christmas past, if you like, because my granddad had passed away many years ago, and it was sentimental because that was something he laboured hard to get for me and to build for me, and it was his pride and joy to give me that Christmas day and to put that in front of me. So it was kind of sentimental, that set. So I thought to myself, about a year or two ago, I thought, how do I go about getting one of these and putting it together? Now, bearing in mind, guys, I'd already purchased the latest edition of the Duchess of Sutherland, which is a DCC ready loco drive version, which is far more superior. But there's something about this set that you see in front of you. This had the nostalgia, it had the vintageness, and it was just, nothing could explain what that meant to me that Christmas, this set. So it was really important to me as a set in general, and I felt so awful that I didn't look after it. Anyway, so what happened was, moving on, I started browsing eBay, excuse me, and I noticed that you could buy different things on there. So in terms of train set wise, you could assemble the set yourself. If you couldn't afford to get or couldn't see the original set you wanted, it was possible you could collect the rolling stock and the locos to recreate the set, if you like. I know people like John's Amazing Trains has done it with the trying stuff. Oscar Paisley with his trying stuff as well. But for me, in terms, I thought, well, let's try and do a project then. Let's try and source every single original bit of the set and have that set back as it was Christmas morning 1980. So I'd seen one or two of these. I say a couple, say two, three I'd seen online. Two were part of an auction site called Vectis Auctions, and they were asking silly amounts of money for them, and they'd already been sold. And there was one on eBay, came up many few years ago, about 4 years ago. Someone was selling us one of these train sets, like you see in the photograph here. Someone was selling it, and it was really ridiculously asking for a lot of money. So I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford this. So fast forward to the week before last, which is Easter last week or thereabouts, and something very unique happened. Stay tuned. Right, welcome back. So as I was saying, excuse me, around about Easter, before Easter last week in the UK, something unthinkable happened. I was just browsing through eBay and I thought, okay, let's try and see if I can source this set. Maybe not as a set, but let's just start looking at the loco, i.e. the Duchess of Sutherland, and then start working out how I can put together the loco and the coaches and try and resemble the whole set. So can you imagine, to my shock and horror, when I saw this on eBay before Easter, which is now in my proud ownership. Guys, it's my proud and privileged moment to present to you this. My goodness, look at that. I am well and truly pleased with that. Look at that, guys. It's the original set from Hornby. It's the London Midland Express passenger set, and a couple of things I want to bring to your attention is that, number one, the box is in reasonably good condition, but I'm going to confess to you something. The cellophane that was originally on here was quite badly torn, so what we had to do is completely using a little knife is just remove the remaining ancient glue from 1978, because this is the 1978 set. I was quite shocked because I thought this was the 1979 edition that we just saw in the catalogue. It's not. This is actually, believe it or not, this is R697, which was actually manufactured in 1978, according to online sources from Hornby. So, even better. But like I said, the lid was very much in poor condition, so we had to cut this off. And what I've done, using some, you know, those laminated sheets that you can put paper in and put through a hot press and laminate. Well, what I've done, I've got a couple of those and carefully manufactured a double-sided lid, so we keep this nice and safe inside and everything's protected, and then carefully taped all around the original box frame and kept that as neat as possible. One end of the box, which is up here, the lid is permanently taped up because otherwise we're going to tear the lid, but one end you can actually access, and I'll take this out in a minute and we'll show you some more stuff inside. But look at this, guys, can you believe it? It's Christmas 1980 for me all over again. Wow, oh my gosh, look at this, it's beautiful. Anyway, I'll just stop the camera a minute. I'll take the box out of the tray, or the tray out the box, whatever you want to say. I'll just take the damn thing out and we can have a little look and we can get all excited, hopefully. Alright, so I'll see you in a bit. Grab a cup of tea. Oop. Okay, welcome back. Sorry about the little camera malfunction there. Okay, so this is the outer box tray, as it were. And I'm just going to flip it over and show you the brilliant artwork on the back. I mean, there we go. Hopefully you can pick that up at home, the light. And that's absolutely beautiful. And it's got a picture, as it is in the catalogue, but this beautiful painting or print of the real life 6233 Duchess of Sutherland Princess Coronation Class 462, and that's a really nice drawing or print on the back there. And the story is with this particular box, or this box that I had when I was a kid originally, was that when I first got this, it was one thing to have the locomotive and the rolling stock and everything out on the track running it, but after the day's activities, when I put it all away back in the box carefully, I used to love to have this box leaning up against my bedside unit, and I'd sit and look at it all night until I fell asleep, and I woke up in the morning and it would be looking at me. I couldn't believe I actually owned this, and it was the best thing in my life ever as a 6-year-old. So today at 45 almost, it's one of the best things in my life, one of the many best things in my life ever. But it's a simple train set, but it represents a nostalgic part of my life, and I'm really pleased I've got this. But in all seriousness, guys, I mean, the actual box isn't that bad. I mean, like I said, if I flip it over, that's in pretty... Alright, okay, I've cheated, I've put some tape along there, but it makes it sort of passable. And there's the catalogue number, look, R697. Now, this is a little bit strange because I remember the set that I got differed, unless they changed it, I'm not sure, but this is pretty much the same as what I got. I remember this box being exactly like what I got for Christmas that year. It's the exact box. So let's put this box carefully aside before it disintegrates anymore. Shouldn't do anyway, because I've doctored it, like I said. But anyway, let's look at the contents, guys. Da, da, da. Okay, let me just adjust this camera so I can get a better overall shot of what we're doing here. Right, I'll try and do a wide shot rather than a close-up so you can get an overall idea, and hopefully the lighting will be a bit better than the previous ones I've done as well. Anyway, the first thing you notice is the box cover that I've made up isn't the original. It's something I came up with a little idea. Again, using some laminated strips of laminating sheet, I've made this hinge type protective flap cover that when you take it back like this, it just reveals in all its glory this beautiful train set. And I've put that on there like that, so it simply is able to carefully be lifted, and then we can get to what's inside. It keeps it dust free as well, so we've got double protection. So as you can see, here it is, guys. Here's the set. What a beautiful set, isn't it? That is absolutely a cracking set, and everything you see here before the camera is what as it was advertised on eBay and as it came with. There is a few things missing, but we're not too worried about that. So what I'm going to do now is take the camera off the tripod and stay with me, and I'm going to take you in for a closer look. Okay, right, let's sit myself down on my stool. That's better. Right, let's have a wander. So look at this. So this was the little controller you got with it, and it's I've not tested this, and the eBay seller said it does all work, including the transformer. But one of the things I remember about this little controller, this is R911, I believe, the catalogue number for this controller. But as you can see, it's complete there. It's got a plug, it's got its connecting wires to the track. But my power unit that I got, which was one of these, I think it only lasted about a month, and it burnt out. It got overheated and it just burnt out, so I had to source the Deluxe Hornby R900, the big giant beefy power unit, which was much better. But this came with the set originally. It was designed to get you up and running, but long term, if you wanted to expand, you went for something a little bit more better. In those days, actually, folks, some of you might remember the Hammett and Morgan controllers, the old H&M one. I've got a single H&M next door in the layout room, and despite their looks, they are fantastically good controllers. They're very reliable, brilliant. So anyway, let's move on to the rest of the set. So look, we've got some track here. Look at this. This is the old steel track compared to the nickel stuff that Hornby and Pico do these days. It's far more superior, but this is the old steel track that they produced in the 70s. Well, this is 1978 vintage anyway. This is when it was made. Got some curves there, some short little curves. A buffer stop in there, still in there. Red power clip. Oh look, and we've got some. Oh look at these guys. Now these are nice. These are really nice. We've got one of those, and if I take this out as well, we've got a home and a distant signal, which both work. They're a little bit stiff, but they do work, and they're nice. And these are the metal arms as opposed to plastic one these days, because they got all health and safety. Oh no, we can't have these sharp metal edges. So I prefer these ones actually, because these are nicer. But they've got the metal ladders and they're lovely. The original signals. Let's put them back in there, shall we? And then moving down the tray, there's two ramp sections of what would have been a level crossing. Now unfortunately the bit that goes in the middle of the track, the 4-foot bit, that's no longer there. I might source that, I might not. In here there's some unused level crossing gates. There's actually 4 in there. And what else have we got in here? Ooh, what's that? Oh, it's the marker post for the uncoupling ramp. Okay, and there's some clips in there that go and correspond with that. Okay, and also for the signals. Right, let's move down to the most important things. Look, oh look guys, look. Oh, she's superb. Look at that. Now you notice there's a little bit of a scuff mark there. That I noticed on there. That's not really a problem. I'll take this out in a minute so we can have a little look, yeah? But she is in immaculate condition. Look at that. And there's the tender. And then we've got a LMS brake third. And these are the 1930 Scania LMS coaches, just as I remember them on that Christmas morning of 1980. A composite, another brake third, and another composite, which makes a total of 4 coaches. Right, okay, just had to stop that for a moment and get the bits and pieces out of the box for you to have a closer look. So let's look at this beautiful, beautiful Hornby Duchess. Now, bearing in mind this is the 1978 Hornby Duchess, and compared to today's DCC top-end model, it's quite crude, but it's quite an attractive looking loco. If we look at it from that shot, it's a very handsome machine. And I say, as you see this in the picture, this is the condition I pretty much got it in. I say pretty much, there was a little bit of fluff and dust here and there, but nothing, some tweezers and some cotton buds and some lighter fluid couldn't sort out. But look how she's immaculate. She's a beautiful, beautiful loco. And I say, apart from that little scuff there on the cylinder block, I'm not too fussed about that. But look at the wheels. The wheels are absolutely immaculate. I say it's a pretty basic model. As you can see, there's no glazing in the cab. You've got the original Hornby pony truck connection to the tender, and the motor's obviously in the tender. And if you look at the lining on the tender there, it's a little bit off in some places. It's a bit uneven there. If you follow it along with the camera, you notice that obviously whoever was using the bow pen in the Margate factory maybe had a few mini gins for the lunchtime drink or whatever, because it looks a little bit uneven. But you know what, it adds to the character, and it's a unique Hornby model. This is history, guys, because this model was made and manufactured in the Margate Hornby factory in the UK, not China. It's a British made train set, and that is very hard to find these days. So overall, she's in absolutely stunning condition. I'm going to be quite honest with you guys. I like to be upfront and not tell porcupines. These handrails, these silver handrails, they were a little bit blackened and grubby because of age, being 1978 built. She's quite an old lady, and the handrails on the side here, they were a little bit grubby, and I did repaint these with some silver paint and then given a very light coat of Humbrol clear varnish to protect the whole thing. I've done that on both sides of the model. On the top shot you can see there, I've just touched those in with some silver paint and gone over them with a tiny bit of varnish. And the Duchess of Sutherland nameplate on the side there, it's a printed job on the side. It's not a separate nameplate, etched nameplate, not like these days when you buy a top-end Hornby loco. The nameplate is etched on there as a separate fitting. It's not printed, whereas this is. So what I did, just to protect that, I gave it a little tiny bit of Humbrol clear varnish to protect over there with a small brush, and that's going to keep that nice and pristine. Did the same on the front of the loco, the smoke box number plate as well. I went over that, so that keeps that nice and pristine. So anyway, let's have a little look at this loco in detail and what it entails. So I bring it down here, you can see that as you can see, the wheels, it has been run, it has been well and truly oiled and given some TLC. That's the first thing I did when I got this yesterday. It came all the way from Staffordshire. The first thing I did was give the wheels a darn good clean with some lighter fluid and a cotton bud. Went over those. I stripped the whole assembly and cleaned it out with some lighter fluid and some cotton buds. Then I gave it a good oil and lubrication, did all the crank pins, all the com rods, and she's absolutely 110% smooth, very smooth. I'll do a running video of her, so you're going to see what I'm talking about. But she's in very good condition, as you can see. Really nice loco. It's a nice model, and it's exactly as I remember it as a kid. One of the interesting things about this model is that, where is it? Ugh, look at the front there. Hopefully you can pick that up. Just above the buffer beam, you'll make out two headlamps. Right above the buffer beam, two black headlamps to the slight left. They actually illuminate. If you look underneath here, there's a clear piece of plastic that goes down underneath, and then basically on the chassis, right above that, in this area here, there's a small little grain of wheat bulb. And one end picks up from the live chassis, and the other picks up from a wiper that sits on one of the driving wheels. And when it runs along, it has illuminated headlights, and I can't believe that I've got that working when it came in the set, because my Duchess had the same thing, but for some reason I think the wiper broke off, or the bulb went and it wore out, and it actually broke off and never got replaced. So I'm pleased I have that function again. That's amazing. But overall, just even by looking at the loco itself, it's not a bad model. It's quite nice, and I say the paint finish on there is reasonably decent. Now, being a 1978 Margate model, it doesn't have hex pins, thank goodness. I hate those things, because you try and over tighten those and they snap off, and you're left with a completely useless driving wheel because the thread sheared off inside. Not good. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I just had a mini coughing fit. I didn't want to completely keel over and die on you. Anyway, interesting thing about these Margate models is that they have, the early models here have a screw that secures the com rods together in the central driving wheel, as opposed to hex pins. So it's much more maintenance friendly, in my opinion. It's much more easy to assemble and disassemble when you're doing the maintenance side of things. But I mean, these wheels are really immaculate, guys. Look how nice and clean they are. And like I said, I've run it several times, so it's, you know, there you go. Look, that picks up in the camera there. So prove a point, I'm not lying. Seriously shiny. And look at these con rods. Look how nice and shiny they are. It's in beautiful condition. The cab itself isn't that much to talk about because there's nothing in there. There's some moulded relief detail in there, which, you know, you can paint if you want to, but I'm not. I'm going to leave mine exactly as it was in manufactured condition. So there's your locomotive, and mine has the front coupling attached on there, which can be removed with a small screw underneath there, but again I'm going to leave mine on there as per catalogue, as per manufactured appearance. The tender is quite heavy, but obviously it would be because this is where the motor is, and inside here, if we take off the cover, just bear with me, it does come off. I'll try and do this with one hand on the camera. No, I'm going to have to put the camera down and stop this. So okay, sorry about that, guys and girls. So inside the Hornby Duchess tender is the motor. This is the business end of the train. Does all the work for you, makes it go, and obviously increases power and decreases power accordingly to what you're doing with the controller. So these motors, these ring-filled motors, providing they're maintained and cleaned, they're pretty decent. I mean, I've seen people actually have these up and running in DCC mode, and they work pretty well. Like I said, they're Margate built, so everything that came out of Margate in the 70s and 80s and up to the late 90s, to me, was perfect. It was very reliable, and these ring-filled motors are quite powerful, providing they're nice and clean, and you've got clean track and clean wheels, and the thing is lubricated properly. It runs sweet as a nut. and my item here does that exactly the same thing. So when I run this on the layout in the next couple of clips you're going to see, you'll see what I mean. She's a good runner. So that's basically the motor in there. Just a quick glance. If you've not seen this before out there, guys, because there's some of you who haven't seen this before. Obviously nowadays Hornby put the motor inside there, but back in the old 70s the motors used to go in the tender, and it looks quite crude, but these are reasonably excellent motors. These are much better than the Lehman motors in my opinion, and a damn sight better than the Airfix motors. But obviously we've got two springs there, and they rest upon two carbon brushes that make contact with the faceplate in there, which is the copper bit you can see in the light there, and that's the armature inside, which when the magnets engage with the poles and the current is applied, it turns the gears, which turns the wheels, which turns the train, which does everything you need it to do. So that's our nice ring-filled motor in there, and as you can see, it's in good condition, folks. Everything is nice and clean in there. Sometimes you get these off eBay and you don't know what to expect. Sometimes the sellers are generally honest with you, and you do see the pictures of it and you think, okay, it's a spares or repair job, or I can fix that. But no, 10 out of 10 for this guy who sold it to me. Absolutely spot on. And this is really a nice motor we've got in there. So there we go. And to me, I don't think it's hardly ever been run. That's my general overall assessment of it. So when I got this, basically the first thing I did was I cleaned the wheels, gave those a nice clean with some lighter fluid whilst applying power, lubed it all up with a tiny bit of oil, let it run in for about 5 minutes. 5 minutes say one way and 5 minutes in the opposite direction. Hornby say half an hour, but 5 to 10 minutes is ample. So anyway, there's our motor and there's our tender. As you can see, the paintwork on there is nice, but it picks up the rivets. Can you see that at home in the light there? Some decent rivet detail there. Coupling on the back. Space there for a vacuum pipe, which I've got loads of in my spares box. I'll fit one of those up there, I suppose. And obviously the pin there that makes the connection. There's not a great deal of detail on there, but then it's pretty decent. So let's put that up there with its locomotive. Okay, you stay there. Right, let's have a quick look at these coaches. Whoops, all over the place tonight, guys. Right, this is the Hornby Stanier Break Third LMS coaches. It's got these really beautiful silver roofs on here. This one's, as I can say, I mean, these coaches, I'm not lying to you, the camera's telling you the truth here. This is exactly as I received it out of the box. There's nothing wrong with these coaches. Bodywork, the paintwork, everything on that is immaculate. And it's never been used or played with, I don't think. Looking at these wheels, look at these wheels. And I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't cleaned these wheels since I've had it yesterday. So you can see that whoever had this truly looked after it, just like I should have when I was a young man. Well, I did, but in the end it didn't get looked after like it should. But this is definitely going to be looked after now. Trust me, this is going to be well and truly loved. And if you notice these axles, guys, these are much different to the more modern Hornby axles you can get. They're these square axles, and I like these because the axle pins that sit in the seats either side and the axle bearing holes are much more better in terms of fit, and they just have a much better, smoother running. But yeah, everything underneath there is complete as well. As you can see, all the detail there, that's all complete. Look at it, it's mint. Right, let's put that back there safely in the tray. starters you mean to go on. This is the composite. I'm not going to get all these coaches up. I'll just show you two of the examples out before. So this is the LMS composite coach, which is like the standard class coach, and these are all differently numbered as well. So you got 3934, and the same composite number down the end. That's got the same number as this one, and then the brake thirds have got a different number there, which is can't make that out. That's 5. Sorry, it's not 5. 5644. There we go. Okay. So that's that one there. So let's put that back in its relevant bed. So there we go. There is our Hornby Duchess of Sutherland set, and I couldn't be more pleased with this. Seriously, it's a lovely, lovely model, and as you can see from there, you'd have had this. Probably ran it a little bit because there's dirt on the bottom of the styrofoam tray there, which meant they probably played with it a little bit, but not often. So everything goes back in there. I'm going to put my loco carefully back in here. That's it. There we go, she's in. She's tucked up for the night. I always like to put on my wheels like that because it looks cool. And then we'll put the tender back in its little compartment there. And there she is. And like I said, I haven't tested the mains controller, but I do believe in when I say it works. But the actual overall moving forward point about the set is, guys, that I was thinking about sourcing some few bits for it. For example, over here in the top of the tray where the track is, there's an indication that looks like there was a set of points. Looks like a left-hand turnout would have gone there. Now that baffles me because the set that I got in 1980 didn't have a siding, just had a standard oval of track. So this being the 1978 version of that set leads me to believe there could have been a siding, well there is a siding, that was meant to go with the set, which is missing. So I think what we're going to do is leave that. I will let you in on a little secret. I have ordered from eBay a brand new, unused, vintage cardboard tunnel. Remember those that came with the sets, the cardboard tunnels? I'll show you when I get it, but I'm not going to use it. I've purely got it just to go with the set for sentimental reasons. So that's as far as I'm going to go to replace anything original from the set. But I'm going to keep the set exactly as I was sold it, and as in the condition that you see before you there. So there's not much really point in replacing anything like track that's missing. There's an uncoupling ramp that needs to be sourced and the set points there, but other than that, I'm never going to use these things. I want to keep them in the box. The only thing I'm going to use ever is the loco and the rolling stock. But just as an overall set, just to round up and summarise on everything I've talked about today with you guys, and thanks for watching this, is that this is a sentimental journey for me, literally, and this is something that I wanted to get my hands on again, and not only reminded me of my childhood, but of that Christmas, and it reminds me of my granddad, whom I miss greatly, and I really can't thank him enough, for it was him that introduced me to Hornby that Christmas. So this is for my granddad, this video, really, to say thank you wherever you are up there. And I've managed to get the set back that I got from you that Christmas. Well, certainly a replacement anyway. But this is a good idea, folks. If you've got the same situation, you buy these sets off eBay and the bits are missing, you can always make up some covers for it, like what I've done here, because you want to keep things clean and looked after. Like so. You can fold that over. There we go. Once the lid's on, that'll keep that nice and dust free. So anyway, guys, that's my little bit of nostalgia, and I'm going to do some running of her out the box and on the layout, and trust me, she looks beautiful. She really does look good. And also what I'll do, I'll get my more up-to-date version of the Duchess, which is Loco Drive, and I'll compare the two so you can see the differences. Obviously the more modern version will stand out because it's got all the whistles and bells on it, but I mean, to me this has much more, far greater appeal and value because it's vintage. It's from 1978 and it's an original piece of Hornby history. So there we go. I'll see you in the next couple of shots with some running, so stay tuned. Right, okay, before I close the video, I just thought, before one last final shot, I did say in the beginning of the video, when I had the set unboxed and looking at it, I did mention that I'd do a comparison possibly with the up-to-date Duchess. So this is a treat for you guys, and it certainly looks cool. Underneath here we have, there we go, we have two Duchesses of Sutherland, two 462s, and they're both made by Hornby obviously, and there's loads to compare on this. Obviously this one on my left is the 1978 model, which came with the set, which we looked at earlier, and this one here is, I think I got this as early as 2001, I think. It came with the Royal Train set as a box set. Arguably, this is the finer model, I think so. Because it's got loads of detail in the bits and pieces. Take the camera off, you can see what I mean. Hang on a second, I'll just remove this from the old tripod. There we go, it's better. So if we come down here, just really quickly looking at the two, they're both nice looking models really. But this one here, nearest to us on the camera, this is the creme de la creme as far as I'm concerned. They've got a few versions of this out, one in black I think and one in green, and the one I think is my favourite is this one here in its proper London Midland Scottish maroon lake colour. So as you can see, looking at the two locos from the front there, obviously the one on the left here being the 1978 Hornby version, tender drive, and this one being the DCC ready version, you can tell a mile off that they both come from the same stable, just with updated tooling really. I mean, even if you look at really quickly, if you look at it from the top shot in the smoke box here, let me see. Let me find something that'll do. It's a bit crude, I know, but if I get my little pointy stick, if you look at these rivets here, there and there, they're identical. The chimney mouldings are the exact same. It's only when you get down to about here on the cabins, you can see this one has got a separately fitted standing whistle, and this one's just virtually non-existent. It's actually moulded into the body there. And one of the differences, if you look at the tenders, for example, the lining here on the 1978 version is much lower than the top of the tender frame there. There's the top of the tender frame, runs along, stop the coal dropping out everywhere. But this lining here is way off top. And if you look at the more modern version, it's correct as it should be there. Also on the Hornby older version, the LMS lettering there on the tender looks slightly bigger compared to that one. Obviously, one of the major differences is that it's got a lot of underframe detail. Glazed cab windows for a start. Handrails on the side there. There's loads on this, obviously, and you can expect this for a more updated, more expensive model. But back in the day, if we just carefully put that over there like that and bring this one out more centre stage, by 1978 standard, again, this was an extremely nice model, and in my opinion it still is. It doesn't have a lot of detail on there, but it's still a Duchess. It's still a beautiful steam locomotive. Anyway, there we go, a pair of Duchesses for you. And with that, I'm going to just say goodbye, and before I do, you'll see after I've finished up, there's just a little shot of the headlamps that work on this particular model. They're not very bright when they run around the track unless you have the thing going at full power, which I don't like to do. But what I did, I just simply disconnected momentarily the tender from the loco and just switched the power on, so you could see at the front there, you'll see in the shot that these two lamps illuminate, and you'll see that in a minute. Anyway, that's all from me truly, and I'll see you when I see you again. Have a nice time modelling and enjoying your trains out there, and I hope you've enjoyed all the videos so far, and take care. I just wanted to give you a shot of the headlights on the front there. They're not very bright when the train runs around, and in order to show you in the darkness with the light turned off, I've just got the loco disconnected from the tender and just whacked a little bit of juice through the rails, and hey presto, there's their headlights in the front. They look quite good, and I'm glad they work. Anyway, that's all from me, and I hope you enjoyed the little run-in session with the mighty Duchess of Sutherland. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed with me a little trip down nostalgia lane and memory lane as well for me. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video, and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. God bless. Bye bye, and happy modelling.